The restoration carried out on the drawings in the Sozzani collection lasted about 18 months and was rather complicated because of the number of works, the variety of executive techniques, and the various types of damage found. The results of restoring works on paper are rarely exciting in visual terms. The material's porosity and absorption limit the restorer's field of action. Therefore, the damage, even when restored, is difficult to camouflage, always remaining visible. So, in general, the main aim is to remove or slow down as much as possible the causes of deterioration, especially when external to the work. It involves operations of consolidation, where more restoration is carried out on the front face of works than on the back, and conducting actions of an aesthetic nature only if consistent with criteria of reversibility and clearly compatible with the drawing techniques in question. In agreement with the management of the Diocesan Museum, priority was given to the conservation aspect of the works, taking action on the aesthetic side only if the work's legibility was jeopardized. The main problem with these drawings, but also in general for works on paper, was incorrect mountings in terms of systems and materials used. First of all, restoration involved extracting the drawings from their original frames, which were restored by a colleague with specialized knowledge. Then it was necessary to remove the sheets from the old passepartouts, mostly made of paper and cardboard with high content of lignin, which was particularly harmful for conservation, since it transfers oxidation and acidity to the paper with which it has contact, darkening and weakening the sheets. It was necessary to detach the sheets from the cardboard backing to which they were fixed, mostly by means of adhesive tape across the corners. The damage caused by this adhesive tape was already evident when the drawings were still in their frames. Apart from the aesthetic damage caused by the yellowing of the adhesive, there was also oxidation of the glue, which weakened the paper and made it semi-transparent. A drawing that was badly damaged was St. John the Apostle by Jacopo da Chimenti, where pieces of adhesive tape were used not only for mounting, but also to repair the torn and frayed edges of the sheet. The alteration had jeopardized the comprehension of the image, in particular the saint's face. Removing the sticky tape and cleaning the stains on the back of the sheet made it possible to see the clear outline of the drawing. After detaching the sheets from the external cardboard frames, normally stiffer, we found that most of them were reinforced by paper or sometimes cardboard supports, which in many cases were completely glued. This backing was removed only where it was possible to intervene without putting at risk the drawing technique. Different ways of removal were used, with the only criterion of working from the front, removing the support from the sheet and never the sheet from the support, to avoid creating tension and distortions. In some cases, we made minor discoveries of drawings on the front of the sheets or the backing, which had remained hidden for years. In many cases, we decided not to remove the completely glued support. Most of the drawings made with metallic inks were completely glued to paper or card backing, probably due to their fragility. Attempting to detach them from the backing could cause tearing of the paper along the ink lines and the loss of fragments. For all these reasons, detachment was avoided. Once free of their supports, the sheets were cleaned of glue residues and paper fragments from the backing, and paper patches or inserts from old restorations were removed. The treatment of stains and discoloration caused by dampness and water was very limited, only in cases of real interference with the appearance, and as always, only when compatible with the technique. It's worth mentioning the treatment of drawings that had areas of white lead, This lead-based white pigment was used to create what are known as lumi, that is, highlighting the parts of the composition that are well lit. In contact with air, it undergoes a chemical change, frequently turning black or dark brown. The problem is aesthetic, since the image that's formed is essentially negative. The collection contained only 3 works of white lead. We decided to intervene by applying diluted hydrogen peroxide only in the altered areas to recreate the proper appearance. Not many sheets had the characteristic alteration known as foxing, that is, the presence of reddish-brown speckles resembling fox fur. This phenomenon is due in part to the oxidation of metal fragments in the paper mixture, in part to fungal attack, as well as a combination of both. We decided to intervene only on a warrior's head by a Napolitan artist, where the reddish spots overlapped and blended with the sanguigna lines of the same color. The treatment did not completely eliminate the foxing, but lightened it. For the sheets free of backing, we were able to go ahead with repairing torn pieces, reinforcing edges and frayed areas by applying thin strips of tissue paper and integrating the lacunae, including those caused by silverfish, using double-layer inserts with tissue paper or other paper chosen for its light weight and surface finish. Special attention was reserved for sheets with metallic inks. The corrosion caused by the acidity of the inks had resulted in weakening and tearing along the darker lines, with loss of fragments. After cleaning the area and removing old patches, we had to apply a thin layer of tissue paper to strengthen the sheet and hold the torn areas together. The sheets were flattened and smoothed under weights. So, after flattening and completely drying the sheets, we started the task of retouching. In some cases, the inserts were on pre-dyed card in subdued colors. These were retouched slightly with watercolors to link them to the coloring of the work, or tissue paper was used, ivory color with tratteggio in watercolors. Retouching on the original paper was carried out, for reasons of reversibility, with pastel colors of the soft and chalky type. After completing the work, the drawings were mounted in the frames that the collector had chosen. The sheets were either mounted in a passepartout, made of conservation cardboard, or separated from the glass by means of spacers made of cardboard. Collections of drawings would not normally be displayed permanently because the paper and the drawing techniques are highly sensitive to light, and in particular, ultraviolet rays. But given the request of the donor, namely that all the drawings should be displayed with their frames, it was necessary to find a solution that would allow display without endangering conservation. The museum glass used, besides having anti-glare characteristics, making the works perfectly legible, have an anti-UV filter of 98% that significantly retards the damage caused by ultraviolet radiation. In addition, the gallery staff have arranged special spotlights which are turned off when not needed, helping towards the preservation of these drawings as long as possible.